Wife refused to cook for husband's friend. The smell of black tea wafted in the air. Martha turned off the stove and arranged the teacups on the table where Thomas was reading the Daily Times news. Over the years, it had become a habit for the couple to have breakfast together before leaving for work. Their kids usually have breakfast first before joining their school bus. For the couple, breakfast was more or less a time for them to bond, chat, and eat. Adams lost his wife yesterday. The doctors couldn't save her. Thompson disclosed the sad news to his wife, gasping. Martha's hands covered her mouth and her eyes widened in shock. Oh my God! God's blessings and peace. How's Adam managing the whole situation? He is devastated. Maybe we should help him with some chores. Of course. Yes, how can I help? Thompson swirled his tea with his spoon and thought for a while before replying. Can you take care of cooking for him? I will help around the house, for a while, of course. All right, I think that arrangement is fine. We can make him some hot meal once a week, since he has no close relatives living in the area. Sure, I think I can do that at the end of each week. Thank you. Thompson squeezed his wife's hand and smiled sweetly at her. In his heart, he knew he could always count on her. Martha playfully slaps his shoulder. Don't thank me. He's our friend. I really feel sorry for Adams. It must be a huge toll on him. After breakfast, the couple headed out for work. The both agreed to attend to the deceased burial at noon. When the phone rang, she knew it was her husband. At the same time, she noticed it was noon. It seemed as though time was fast. Earlier, when she got to work, she had taken permission to attend Jenny's funeral. Thompson was dressed in an all-black suit and shirt. Martha knew the moment didn't call for flattery, but she couldn't help but admire how gorgeous her husband looked. It seemed as though he was created by God himself. His slender build showed just how much he worked out. His hair was always well trimmed, and usually smells nice. Martha, on the other hand, wore a black gown that ended just below her knees. She packed her hair up in a ponytail, which made her look younger than usual. She didn't wear any jewelry, since Thompson informed her of the ceremony. The couple was 16 minutes late by the time they arrived at the cemetery. The priest had already started the procession. The weather was slowly darkening, meaning that it would begin to rain soon. Hence, the priest tried to speed up the process. While laying the coffin on the ground, it started to drizzle. Adams clutched the stalk of a rose in his hands. He was unable to say any last words to his deceased wife. He stared blankly at the coffin. Martha stared at him, deep in thought. She couldn't help but wonder if he was crying, or if it was the drizzle that had splattered on his face. For close to 2 weeks, Martha had been shuffling her job, taking care of her family, and also Adams, who showed no signs of coming out of his depression. Martha was in the laundry room sorting out laundry, sorting a new set of clothes to send into the machine and fold the dry ones. She was focused on completing the task. She suddenly felt a hand sneak around her waist, and a soft lip pecked her cheeks. She blushed and nudged Thompson by his side. Babe, the kids are home. Thompson taps her head. Your head is always filled with dirty thoughts. I'm just playing around with my wife. Nothing more. Oh, I see. Can I help out? Sure, Martha replied and assigned him a task. Thompson keeps staring at her, a bit unsure of how to present the issue in his mind. Noticing her husband's frequent stares, Martha inquires the reason he had been staring. Is there something you would like to ask or say? You know, I think the 1 meal a week is not enough for Adam. Oh, maybe, but I can only cook at the end of the week. Thompson looks at her shyly and speaks apprehensively. Maybe we could try cooking twice a week? I'd help out. But how? I work 5 days a week in 2 jobs. Yes, I'm sorry. It was a bit selfish of me to do that. Martha breathes deeply. She feels uncomfortable, knowing that her husband was trying to be selfless and caring toward his friend, but she was thinking about her job first. It must be hard for him. Did he ask for the meal, or is it just your thought? Well, I got it from his words, Thompson said while scratching his head. Okay, I'll take some time off every Wednesday and cook for him. Our friend has lost his wife. My boss should understand. Thank you. Thompson pecked his wife on her cheeks for blessing him with an understanding wife. The mall was particularly full since it was the weekend. There was a long queue at the checkout point. It seemed as though everyone was trying to restock their groceries or shop items for their family. Martha was rolling her cart out of the mall, feeling tired. She was at the checkout point for more than 30 minutes before it got to her turn. While offloading the groceries into the trunk of the car, her phone kept ringing. She knew it was her husband because she had a distinct ringtone for him. She rummaged her bag and found her phone. Thompson sounded desperate from his end. and the rush in his voice made her unsettled. "Did you get everything?" Thompson asked. "Yes, I got everything that was on the list. I had a little of my own. Is everything okay?" "Good. He just sent me a message. He wants only the di caprese pasta." Martha pulls a long face. Although Thompson couldn't see her, from her voice he could tell she was unhappy. "Di caprese? What is that?" "It's a brand of pasta or something I think his wife used to cook for him." Martha inhales deeply, trying not to explode, and talked calmly to her husband. "There's a queue at the mall. He may just have to make do with what we have. Darling, inasmuch as I hate to inconvenience you, can we just do this for the sake of our friend?" "I'm not impressed by this. I was at the counter for close to 30 minutes, but it's fine. Since it's just pasta, I could get someone to help me out." Reluctantly, Martha returned to the mall to get the pasta. Ever since Adams lost his wife, their routine changed. It became as though they started living for Adams. Today, she hoped that they could take a break and have a little time for themselves. After cooking for her family and storing Adams' food into a pack, she notified her husband that they could leave to drive down to Adams's. The couple had a quiet trip down to Adams's house. Thompson pulled over and reached out for Martha's hands. Martha finally spoke for the first time in their 15 minutes drive. "Take the food to him and come back right away, okay? Let's go to the lake together. I don't want to miss the show." Thompson sighs uncomfortably and explains. "Sorry. He asked me if I could clean up his garage." "Okay. I mean, it's been 2 months since his wife passed away." "Yes, sorry. By the way, he would like you to cook 3 times a week for him." Martha blankly stared at her husband. She couldn't believe he could suggest that, knowing her boss was already hating on her. "You know the situation I'm in at work, so did you tell him that I can't?" She noticed her husband couldn't even look at her straight in the eye. He stuttered while replying, "Not yet. I said that you'd probably be okay with that." "What? I have a full-time job. I still have to clean the house, do chores, cook for our children, and you and Adams." Thompson held onto her hand in a bid to convince her. "Well, this is temporary. He is suffering enough these days." Martha felt her husband was overindulging Adams. Deep down she wanted to yell at him, but she decided to concede to his request. Despite being unhappy, Martha played along for her husband's sake. Weeks went by, and Adams wasn't showing any signs of independence. He still relied on Thompson and his wife. Martha felt like a burden was on her. She had volunteered to help not cast a burden on herself and create a rift between her and her husband. And no matter what he requests, her husband always gives in. Thompson was in his office dozing off when a message notification woke him up. "Hi, this is Nicholas. I have some guests tonight. 6 people. Can you arrange something for the table?" Thompson immediately tries to contact his wife, but she didn't take his calls. He kept on sending messages, but she didn't reply. At 6 p.m., he calls his wife, but got no response. He also calls the house line, yet there was no response. He stormed into his house by 7:30 p.m. Martha was dressing her phone and snacking on a bowl of grapes. He felt his blood boil. "Why didn't you pick up the phone today?" Thompson asked angrily. "Did I have to?" Thompson was taken aback by her rudeness. His wife had always been calm and level-headed. He took in a breath and tried to explain. "Adams had guests over and had to order pizza." "So what? What's wrong with ordering some pizza for his friends? Everyone knows he has no wife anymore." "Maybe, but he's my friend and your friend too. What would the guests think of this? What a shame for us." Martha had enough of the torture. She needed Thompson to understand that they had done enough for Adams. "Oh, sorry, dear husband. I can only be your wife. I can't be his wife at the same time." "What are you talking about?" "Don't you get it? I cook 3 times a week for him, on our money. Maybe it's enough already. You spend time with him in the garage and play games with him so that he isn't bored. But you do it when you have free time. But I have no free time." "This is temporary," Thompson screamed at his wife. He couldn't understand what possessed her. It should stop. 4 months has already passed. Hello! He has already started inviting his friends and having fun. He could have learned to cook already. The couple kept arguing back and forth. Thompson thought his wife was being unreasonable and cruel. Martha, on the other hand, believed her husband was being soft-hearted. Finally, Martha suggested, "Why don't you cook for him, Mr. Nice Man?" "I just don't know how to cook. Maybe you should quit your job. If you quit your job, you could cook for him every day. Your salary is miserable anyway." "What the hell are you talking about? You dare degrade my work for your friend? Screw you! Screw you and your friend! I'm out of this shit. I'm not playing this game anymore." Martha felt hurt. She couldn't believe those words were spoken by her husband. She felt like she didn't matter to him anymore. "Darling, calm down. Stop talking about him like that and consider my words. Thompson, I'm not his secretary. I'm not Mother Teresa to him. I have my jobs. I have my worries. Everything has a limit. You are not protecting me right now, and he is owning our life, controlling it and dictating what we should do." Thompson looked at his wife, feeling a bit unsettled. He realized there was an element of truth in her words. Without waiting for her husband's reply, she declared, "From this day on, there will be no food for him. I'm quitting taking care of him. Give, but give until it hurts." Mother Teresa,